Meeting for the Board of Assessment Appeals. We'd like to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So our first taxpayer tonight is going to be James Brennan. Are you James Brennan?
Yeah. Hello, James.
Hello, nice to meet you. So we are ready for you, sir.
I think I go to this desk here.
Yes. Stand right at the mic. What are you going to present first?
Dwelling.
We have to swear you in by Sandra.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. You have that memorized yet? I know.
Now, do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm that the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, or upon penalty of perjury.
Yes.
Okay, sir, you'll have 10 minutes to present, please.
All right, I assume everybody got the packages I sent them. This dwelling is a home built circa 1760 as determined by the Seymour Historical Society. It has no central heat, never had central heat. It has a partial basement. The drawing on the thing is wrong. I go through this every reval. I'm looking to, the appraised value on it is 26,600 is what I'm looking to change it to. In 2015, I'll just go through it the way it's in the packages. The number is determined, there's got a sheet that says the dwelling valuation appeal. Town has the appraised value residential land at $78,400. The dwelling at $90,100 for a total of $168,500. The appraiser I had come in and did the appraisal for the residential lot and the house, excluding the outbuildings, because it's all one, it's an 8.18 acre parcel. There is no specific lot, it's all one piece. So you know what building, depending on where you put the boundary markers, will be in or not, as far as, so I'm not appealing the barn and outbuildings. Our appraisal has the land and dwelling, the residential lot, at total of $105,000. If we subtract from that the $78,400 the town has for the residential land, that leaves a total for the dwelling at $26,600 is how I arrived at that number. I got that.
Yep, you can keep going until we,
Okay, the next thing is documentation from the 2015 Board of Assessment Appeals. Presented all this information. This house has no, again, it has partial basement, and the partial basement is partial because of the inside foundation, but at the BAA in 2015 revised the dwelling appraisal to $49,700. And you also, and I noticed that returned the farm acres to 7.26. The next set of documents is, I took this, I was not satisfied with that, so I went to a judicial appeal, which has this docket. In a pre-trial settlement, the town of Seymour assessor agreed, stipulated a value of 29, it doesn't say the exact value of the house here, put the house at $29,000, assessed at $20,300. And that was to stay in effect throughout reval, unless there was upgrades or improvements, of which there were none. So on September 30th, 2019, that dwelling was appraised at $29,000, or assessed at $20,300, appraised at $29,000. And now it's appraised at $90,100. That's more than 310% of what was agreed to with no improvements. If you look on this field card, print date 1/4/21, you can see the documentation of 2019. Item, the dwelling 1-3 is at $20,000, $20,300. The field card is kind of mixed up. I went in and asked Mr. Kuziak down here in notes, 1% dirt basement. This has a dirt basement, fieldstone foundation prone to leaking. I asked what the 1% dirt meant. Was that 1% functional, 1% is dirt? Told me I made too much of everything, and it's just a number he uses to give me something off. So I never found out what it did mean.
Okay, we gotta move on to the farm now, because we're running up on time, please. You have 10 minutes, sir.
The farm's an illegal declassification of farm property. The statutes as presented in your packet, as noticed in Mr. Kuziak letter, CGS 504H, that it can be classified only for change of use, change of ownership. There has been neither. So looking to have the farm classification put back in place, and that means there is no residential. Because it's all one piece, 490, which is what this is, PA 490 states, if there's a dwelling on the parcel, then you take out one building lot.
How do you heat your house, sir?
Have it. I only heat, the second floor is closed off for the winter, only heat the kitchen, I only live in the kitchen and the bedroom. Because there is no insulation, they have individual electric portable heaters in the room that I'm using.
So portable heater, that's it, right?
That's it. There's no furnace. In 15, I said there was a primary gas on gas propane stove. That's no longer a primary because of the age of it. You can't get parts for it. The thermostat doesn't work on it. So you have to turn it on manually and turn it off manually when it gets hot. So when you're not there, you have to leave an electric heater. And at night when you're sleeping, you have to use an electric heater that has a thermostat on it, or else it'll just run forever.
So one last question, please. What do you have for animals on your farm that you're considering a farm?
Sheep, same thing I've had for the last 27 years.
How many sheep?
Right now I have 4 breeding ewes,
So 4.
right now.
Anything else for animals?
It's got to buy, well, I had to sell off my stock when I got this notice that he was declassifying it again, because I knew I was going to need money for law attorneys.
Okay, so we heard your appeal, and we will let you know the results and our decision by mail in a week to 10 days. Thank you so much for coming in.
Again, in that house, there's no insulation. I gave pictures. There's no insulation in the basements. There's no insulation for the things. So the whole thing is an exterior.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. Stormway Incorporated, next one.
This is our show run.
You might want to wipe that mic down, please.
Sure. You want me to
So
provide the
you-
copies up there or?
We have everything, thanks. So you're Storaway, correct?
Yes, for the record, Attorney Matthew Jolowick, Jolowick Law LLC, 439 Main Street, Wallingford, Connecticut, on behalf of Storaway Incorporated, for the appellant Storaway Inc., for the appraised property at 738 Derby Avenue in Seymour, Connecticut.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read the oath to you.
Sure. Well, I'm not testifying. I'm the attorney of record.
I don't know, this is what I was told I'm supposed to do.
If he's an attorney, what happens?
All right.
If he's the attorney, he does not. He's not presenting evidence. There's no need to swear him in. It's only the people that present evidence who you need to swear in, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, you got 10 minutes, please.
Sure. Just a couple procedural issues with respect to the 738 assessment, not being the true and accurate 70% value of the property. I did have a couple pages of breakdown I wanted to submit it to the record, just our appellant's analysis of the issues. Luckily here, the property is, it mirrors another parcel owned by the same entity. The two addresses in question, the 738 Derby Avenue, for which we're appealing, is also a similar building, basically the same building at 686 Derby Avenue. If you're familiar with the parcels, Storaway Incorporated, the mini storage warehouses, there's one farther up the road. They're identical buildings, approximately the same age, identical construction. The structure itself, based on cost per square foot, is not calculated to be the same. So in order to figure out what the valuation would have been, it should essentially be the same cost per square foot. So the way that the appellant reviews it, the appraised value on comparison should have been $632,393 for the structure at 738 Derby Avenue. Utilizing a cost per square footage basis of the structure compared to 638, the math, it's a math issue. It's not of what they feel or so forth and so on. Simply using your numbers, the valuation at 686, using 686, using the square footage calculation, it would have produced an approximate valuation of $632,393 for the subject property at 738 Derby Avenue. So for the structural issue, that would have been the line item change there requested. In addition, there is a listing of an outbuilding at the 738 Derby Avenue for $12,500. We're not entirely sure what that's based on because there is no out structure. So absent some other clear definition of what that valuation is being placed on, the appellant disputes the existence of an outbuilding. I apologize. I'm trying to condense it as quick as possible. In addition, there is a $3,300 line item charge for extra features, and we're not entirely sure what that's based on either. Comparative properties don't have any listings for extra features, and we dispute the existence of that as well. And that would have been an additional $3,300 reduction. With respect to the land, this is, again, just a math issue. Utilizing 686 Derby Avenue, which is a 0.91 acre parcel, you've got an evaluation of $107,200. 738, which is 1.28 acres, you have valued at $191,800. Comparative to 770, another adjoining parcel at 1.69 acres. Again, these are all similarly situated parcels based on square footage. You have it valued at $192,000. So essentially 738 is double what it should be, almost double. You go from 107,000 to 191,000 when it's essentially not double the square footage of the actual land, the parcel. So adding up all of our requested deductions and disputes, we're ending up with a requested valuation of approximately $519,675 of what the 70% assessment value should be based on utilization of the standards of appraisal. And it can be the only true and accurate representation of 70% of the fair market value. Questions? I've got the principal of the corporation who would be happy to testify if you have questions, but I don't want to waste your time because it tends to generally be a math issue. We're simply utilizing the formulas that the assessor has put in place based on square footage, based on cost per acre, utilizing another property that we own, I should say Storaway owns. The math just doesn't add up.
I have no questions.
Anyone else? if I could just check with the principal, see if you wanted to add any testimony before I finish.
All right, thank you.
That'll be it. Thank you very much.
So you'll be notified of our decision by mail in a week to 10 days.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Someday this will be over, I hope.
Yes, hold it today.
Won't be today. Thanks. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Thank you. Bye. Take care. Anybody else out there? No, not yet. So basically, we might as well keep going on Storaway.
Or whatever, or Jamie, whatever you want. I don't know how that means.
We have 3 cards for them.
I wasn't following what you were saying.
Two of them are identical, so I don't know. Except that one of them has writing down here.
Well, Joe said he did decrease it. Because they were on
What did we decrease it to?
654, 780. So that's what I'm gonna roll with. We're gonna drop it down to average, because it was average plus 10. I hear a second.
I think Joe was that.
Well, guys, if you're making a motion, I'm not sure. It's Brian. Rory, are we picking this up on the recording? I just heard the word motion. I thought you were, I don't know if the mics are picking this up. Rory, are we hearing this?
It
Do
is
you know?
very
Is very what, Rory?
quiet.
Quiet, yeah. Madam Chairman, I don't think the microphones are picking up if you just made a motion. And I know on Mr. Brennan's, did you vote on Mr. Brennan's yet? Because I don't
No,
think
we-
that got picked up on the record either.
We did not.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just ask you to move closer to the microphone.
My microphone's on. Can you hear me?
It's not.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that it's a little better. You really have to speak directly into the microphones.
We're discussing the person that just left Storaway. I make a motion to drop it to 654, 780. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay, so 3-0 for Storaway. In favor of 654,780 will be the assessment. So we're gonna go back to the first person that came, Mr. Brennan. And I am going to deny his appeal. It's not a farm. And I'm gonna deny his real estate appeal. We'll hear a second.
So that's a motion to deny then, and then it needs a second.
A motion to deny, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
No.
Okay, so it's 2-0, motion to deny. 2-1, I'm sorry, for Mr. Brennan, for denying his appeal.
So let me ask you then, Sandra, are you opposing both denies, both the house and the farming classification, or just the
I'm
farm?
Well, I guess we're voting on it together, right?
Yeah, I'm denying both farm and real estate.
But
and-
what
I'm
are-
denying both.
You're,
I'm denying their,
you're opposing both,
yeah, I'm opposing both.
because I'll just mark them down separately and then do the yes.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Dolfo, what time is he now? 6:30?
6:30, yes, yeah. These two were fast.
So maybe Jamie Brennan, since he had 2, he was gonna take 20 minutes? No.
Just look at the sign. Sandra, we're gonna slip chairmanship to you next year.
You gonna what?
Slip chairmanship to you next year. You don't know it.
Like, I can't believe how many paper clips I go through and then I lose them.
The last guy, Adam. Okay. For sure, and then, the,
Oh, Rinaldi.
Rinaldi, yeah. Okay, but more people coming.
Like Halloween. We're early, we'll just sit back.
Hi there, what's your name?
Malinoskis, Richard.
We'll see you. Step up to the plate, please.
Where?
Right there to that
You
microphone.
just want to wipe the mic down.
We're down here. I can't see this, I can't see good, I can't see your face. That's okay. So,
So
what's this
Richard
about?
Malinowskis, real estate, right?
What?
Real estate, Richard Malinowskis, correct?
Real estate?
Putting back the farm status.
That is real estate, they said.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sandra's gonna swear you in.
You solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury.
I do.
Okay, sir, you have 10 minutes to present, please.
Well, I, been on the farm all my life, I was going there. And, every year they give me, form to fill out for farm equipment, which I've been doing since they started it. And this year I went down and, Joe was sitting in the seat and I said, Joe, here's my form. And he said, you don't need that anymore. And I said, well, why don't I need it? He says, you're not a farmer. I said, what? He said, well, unless you cut the hay in the springtime, you're not a farm. I said, well, what statute is that in? He said, I make the rules here. So I said, wow, what am I gonna do? I didn't know anything. I should have said, well, what are you gonna, what statute are you gonna change me to? Because I'm not changing it. I thought if you change the land, you have to go for a hearing, but I'm not changing it. It's been a farm since 1923. I grew on it. You know, this is about the hay. Hay is still farmed every year, sometime early, sometime late. The hay is a crop that you need good weather. You know the old saying, you make hay where the sun shines. This spring was one of the wettest spring we had in years. So all the hay crops were late. So we did cut it a little late, but it was cut. I have a letter here from the person that cut it. Lewandowski, they have a farm, and he cuts the hay. And if you want to see the letter, I have it here. And, you know, hay takes 3 to 4 days to dry. So that's why we're late sometimes. This year was terrible. And I don't know why he says I'm not a farm.
Thank you.
It's just, you know, because I don't cut it in the springtime. There's nothing in the statute say when you have to cut hay. You cut it when you could. That's the way we've been farming since I started cutting hay when I was 12 years old on the back of a truck. You know, I farmed the land. I was from there. I was born there. So now it's kind of gives you a shock when they say, oh, it's not a farm no more. I'm 91 years old. I'm not going to go and buy new machinery and all that stuff. I can't do it. I'm going blind on top of it. And then I go to this aggravation, which is, I guess, legal. I don't know if it is or not. But. So that's my story. Even if you say I'm not a farmer, or I am a farm. To me, it's been a farm all my life. And I'm gonna die calling it a farm. And you decide, just because this guy never baled the hay, never touched the cows. I used to clean the ditches before school, I milk the cows, all that, and cut the hay and bale it when change baling it, we started bale, before it was all by hand. You know, this guy doesn't know anything about hay. I don't know how he could say, you have to cut it at a certain time. It's impossible. You wait for good weather. Now it's a little better because you have good weather. You can look ahead. It wasn't good weather this year and the year before. So I don't know what else you want from me.
I hope I can interject. I hope you read this letter. I know Joe is Joe, and Joe says what he feels like saying, but he does not have a degree in agriculture. He's given his opinion. What we did, we went to the farmer, and he is stating, he has no problem stating this. He could have been here today, but he was busy. They cut it in 2020, October. Absolutely, there is nothing wrong with the hay. I know when you tried to do me, they were saying something's wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know what we have to do. Bring it to the farm. Here, watch them take the hay. Here, we're giving it to cattle. It's not used for mulch. It's hay. It's feed. In fact, I know none of you are on Facebook with farmers or anything like that locally, but there was a big need of hay this year. If you went on, people were going, does anybody have hay? Does anybody have hay? And I hope the board really looks at this seriously. And they're worried because they're afraid the farms, if they get all sold, then they're not going to have any hay for the animals. You know, and that's why he says he is so appreciative that Mr. Malinowskis lets him farm and use the hay, because they'd be in the same situation trying to do it. They have a lot of animals and they have a lot of farm. Do you know Bombas? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, it's not some dinky farm. And they know what they're talking about. And like I said, I wish I could have brought him here. And then he could have, I don't know what else to convince you unless we bring you there. There's nothing wrong with the hay. And I know that's what Joe is trying to say to you. And I don't know why he's picking on the farmers. I don't know. I have no reason to, we couldn't come up with anything. We know we're not the only ones. And
Do you remember when you hate?
it says right there in the letter.
So
I mean,
October,
there's no
right?
time you have to cut
Right.
hay.
I know you're gonna say, well, he came by in June, he came by in July. But I don't know, I don't know if we could ask you questions. Does Joe show you any proof from the state? Because we attached what he is stating. It's already been classified as a farm. There's only two, after it's classified, there's only two reasons you can unclassify it. One is, did not change, that if you change the use of the land. He did not change the use of the land. It is still hay, the hay is still good, and it certainly didn't sell it. So I don't know what
And
Joe
I'm
is
not
trying to
planning
tell
to
you.
sell it.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, I'm not planning anything besides farm. That's it.
Okay. Is there anything else you need to ask?
I don't have anything to ask.
Did you want to see the letter?
I
What
have,
we did.
Oh, okay.
thank you. You guys all set? Okay, we'll send you a letter in a week to 10 days with the decision. Thank you so much for.
Now,
coming.
let me ask you a question. I don't know if you know or not. If I'm not a farm, what do they classify as?
That's something that you would have to ask the assessor.
That's cool?
We don't really answer questions, sir.
Oh.
You would have to ask the assessor.
I'm just curious, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
All right, is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you.
So much.
Thanks.
And just for general information, I don't know if we're over our time. You know, when I was here with mine 2 weeks ago.
See, we're
and-
neighbors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
farmers help each other. And he said, you read something about, well, Joe says here that it has to be 6 weeks. And I'm like, where did he get that from? Guess what? I went to the internet too. I found exactly where he got it from. And he only gave you part of the article. Because and what it says is he went to the same site and then it talks about, oh, this is northeast Iowa. And then it says what he was, only gave you the top. what it's saying, although those are good answers, the more correct answer actually deals with the growing degree days, not the calendar. So he didn't even give you the whole article. And then I also went to the internet. I could find all kinds of articles. This one says, so when will you make the last hay cut? And it says here, a hay cutting in late fall is a good way to obtain more forage, meaning sometimes when you cut it late, it helps the root to grow. And I don't understand why I guess I'm just baffled. All Joe had to do to get that letter, I called up the farmer and said, is there any problem with the hay? No. That was it. I don't even know if it took a minute. That's all he had to do.
Since you were here last, have you talked to Joe?
Did I talk to Joe? No.
Because if you have questions, you need to direct them to him, because he would be able to answer them.
Okay.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah, no, I don't have a question. I'd say to anybody, I don't understand why you have an assessor who doesn't try to help the situation first, because that was supposed to be the first thing. And I told you the same thing you told Mr. Malinowski, appeal it. He didn't try to work it out with us. We could have just said, why don't you call and you can find out. We didn't want to know.
Right.
So
I understand.
we did try to work with him. We absolutely did.
Okay, thank you. So you will definitely get a letter in a week to 10 days. Thank you so much for coming.
All right, and if you don't call it a farm, do I appeal again, or?
That's something you have to ask Joe. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I know.
I know.
I hope it'll take.
Boy, 91, yeah.
He doesn't drive.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying he looks fantastic for
Yeah.
91.
That's what happens when you're a farmer.
The weather wears on you,
So
right?
your next one is the Toluca.
All right. What is the procedure here?
Hi, who are you?
I'm Attorney Kulas, and I'm here with my client, Mr. Doka, Ed Doka.
Come right in, sir.
Where do we go and where do we
You can,
stand?
you can go right to the mic and wipe it off at that cloth, please.
Okay.
Here. That's an easy one.
I hope I'm not damaging this valuable piece of town equipment.
So I was thinking the same thing.
I don't know if these are materials left by the last people or are these here before?
I don't know, sir.
Okay.
So you,
I don't want them to, I could catch them.
you have 10 minutes to present, please.
Starting now?
Sure.
Fine.
You're gonna be presenting and not the.
Well, he's available here for questions and if I need to refer to
So we would have to swear
But I will
him in.
do the most of the talking.
He has to get sworn in if he's gonna speak to us.
I have to get sworn in?
No,
No.
him.
Okay.
Taxpayer.
Raise your right hand. She's gonna swear you in.
Sandra will swear you in.
Well, Sandra will.
I don't know, it's just, keep it, I can get questions tomorrow.
You solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury.
Ready?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, my name is Attorney Steve Kulas. I have an office at 246 Bank Street. And I'm here tonight to represent Mr. Edward Doka concerning his assessment appeal, 174 South Benham Road, Seymour, Connecticut. In October of this, I'm sorry, not October, but recently, the assessor reduced the amount of acreage classified as farmland on this farm. He moved a considerable portion of it to residential. It's our objection that that was unfounded under the law. I think you've heard this Article 5 argument 5 minutes ago. Connecticut law is very clear. Unless there's a change of ownership or change of use, it remains as farmland. I'll tell you how far that goes. There was a piece of property out in New London County where they went to the zoning board and got it approved for a subdivision. Went all the way to the Connecticut Supreme Court. They said until they put the shovel in the ground, it's still a farm. Mr. Dolka's property is far from that. He maintains it as a farm. He has 3 alpacas. He has a Christmas tree farm. He has bees. And currently, because of the changes in the law regarding marijuana and hemp, he's also a hemp farmer. This property has been in his family for how long?
1915, been a farm ever since.
How long have you been personally occupying the farm?
That's 87.
And you've been operating as a farm throughout?
Yeah.
The law is very clear. There's been no change to use. There's been no change of ownership. You heard this from the appellants 5 minutes before me. The entire parcel should be classified as farmland, and there's no reason for this change.
I got,
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
okay, I got my, I got appeal 5, this is my 4th time here. So I'm going back to 215 when my last appeal. I got all my farms from the IRS. I think I gave you the papers. I show you the beehive. I show you my, then my hemp. And I show you my, what's this? Tax and use tax, I think tax on it.
All of these materials have been included in your packet
Yep.
for your review. And it's important for you to understand that this is not an application for a new farm. This farm has not changed since 1919. We're talking almost 102 years. There is no need under Connecticut law to have to come back and ask for this farm to be classified as farmland every time there's a revaluation of the signal. The law is very clear.
And then, in the letter that I got on October 6, 2020, it says he declassifying my land down because of state statute 112.107C. That's for a new application.
And I believe there's a copy of that statute in your packet. If not, I can hand it up to you. I have an extra copy.
Yeah, now, if he wanted this paperwork, which I gave you people, why didn't he send me something that he wanted the paper?
If you don't have a copy of, you have it, it's in your packet?
Yeah, I have it.
Yes. And again, if you look at that, it's talking about an owner applying. He has no reason to apply. He's been operating this farm continuously since he owned it.
And if he wanted the paperwork, why didn't he ask me for it? Instead of sending the papers to me, he's taking the farm away.
But by he's referring to the assessor, obviously, but I don't, there is no basis in law, in fact, to reduce the amount of acreage classified as farmland that Mr. Delta owns. And hopefully when his bees produce, we'll be able to market honey, correct? So this is a man who uses this property for many agricultural reasons, has been doing so, and the property itself has been doing it for over 100 years. We ask that our appeal be sustained. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
It was a dairy farm before, I even got the dairy cows.
So how many acres is the farm total?
How many acres is the farm total?
30.
And how many acres do you have?
He doesn't have. We're talking.
Yeah.
You do have.
Yeah, I got
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry.
Maybe 15 acres.
Okay.
Don't forget, he says alpacas are Rome. He also has Christmas trees,
Yeah, I got a Christmas tree,
farm.
and then
How many Christmas trees did you sell last Christmas?
I make wreaths.
I'm sorry?
I make wreaths out of them. I don't, you got the trees, they're too big this year.
Oh, so you don't sell Christmas trees?
I make wreaths out of them,
Right.
and I go throughout my property, and I.
How many wreaths did you sell?
I made about $3,000.
Okay.
And it says in here, when you get older in life, you got a court case, says you don't have to produce as much because of age. You cannot discriminate against age or anything. And I think I sent it to you.
That's in your packet as well. Copy of the
That's
court
in the
case.
packet.
was talking about letting land lay fallow for so many years due to the owner's age. And again, the court decides that since there was no change in ownership and no change in use, there's no reason to declassify any portion of the property as.
Then I got to be, they've all over the property. I mean, they're not gonna go just on the farmland, they're gonna go all over the place.
Okay,
All right.
I have no questions. Do you guys have questions?
Thank
We are all
you.
set.
Thank you very much.
So thank you for coming in, and we will notify you by mail in a week to 10 days.
Okay, thank you.
Will you send a copy to both of us?
Sure.
Please? You have my address, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. How far apart are these spades? Because I have another one at 7:30, I believe.
Oh, we're like 10, 15 minutes, so.
Okay. And he's maybe calling in from Florida.
So you're not-
I can't, he's not here, but I can't change the time.
Who are you representing?
I represented any called West Swanwick LLC and the management.
Oh, Ronald, yes.
Yes,
So
Mr.
he's coming
Rinaldi,
in from,
but
Zoom.
he does, the ownership of the property is in West Swanwick LLC.
Okay, thank you.
And then another thing, with the house, I got an LLC. I had to go through the FBI, get fingerprinting and all this stuff.
Okay,
This is my first year doing it. This is the second year.
Thank you.
All right.
anybody out there?
You know what? We graduated the year before me in high school.
Which one?
The landowner.
So we can continue discussing Delta. So I make a motion to deny his appeal due to he only pays 11 acres.
But that has nothing to do with,
This is what Joe said.
but
You need to have a second before you discuss it.
Do I have a second? We'll have a discussion now. Is that all right, Brad?
Did you have a second on the motion, Madam Chairman? I did not hear it.
I did not.
Then no, then there's no motion properly before the body to deny.
Can I make,
Sorry, say again?
can I make a motion to discuss?
No, the motion has to be to either, sustain the appeal, approve the appeal, or deny the appeal. Then it has to be seconded before you can discuss it. The person who seconds it does not have to ultimately vote in favor of the motion they seconded. But absent a second, you cannot discuss the matter. So someone should probably either make the motion to, sustain or approve the appeal and then second it, or second this and then vote in the negative if they don't agree. But you need to have some motion before you. So you either need a motion to deny the appeal and a second, and then discuss and then vote, or a motion to sustain or approve the appeal, second, and then discuss and vote. But absent a motion that's been made and seconded, you can take no action. So you cannot just start discussing it. You need to have something to discuss.
So I need a motion for someone to deny. Okay, so.
I think you had a motion to deny the appeal, but there was no second. Unless there's a second, you can't discuss the item and vote.
Can I abstain my denial and then table this? Make a motion to table it?
That would be an appropriate motion if it's seconded and voted on, sure.
For a second?
I'll second that.
So we have, Tom is gonna second that. To table it?
You need to vote.
What did you say?
You need to take the vote and then announce the results of the motion to table. It's been moved and seconded yet. Thank you.
All right, so we are gonna table this till, later time, Mr. Dolka.
And one last thing, Madam Chairman, you have to announce the results because we're on a Zoom platform, a remote platform. So under the executive orders in Roberts, you have to announce the result.
We don't have results yet, so I don't say anything, right?
No, just the results of the motion. You just have to say the motion to table passed 3-0. That's what I'm getting at. You always have to announce after every vote the result of the vote because we're doing this on a remote platform.
The motion to table was 3-0.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
What would you like to do about you, Mr. 15 Craig Hill Road? No, no, yes.
No, it's.
We gotta discuss it, right?
Yeah.
That's another one we have to put up.
So who's up next? Here, you don't? Yeah. What time is he here?
He was 7:15, but everybody's coming early, so you can.
I just don't want to get you.
Let's see, this one here, Malinaskis only pays, that's all he does, and sells it to farmers. This one does more than, he pays very little, but he grows stuff. But then it's the same thing as the Bryan farm. Did you have to sign that? Andy? Did you have to sign that one of the children? He was sending to the farm, right, the Bryan farm.
So he sent a letter, it was a approved farm classification of the 113 acres he had. And he put down something about, he feels that the board was out of the jurisdiction to make, to make
Your
that.
name was on it.
Yeah, because I did, it's.
Oh, is that the one that I signed that he's?
Yeah, so, so the appeal letters, whether they're approved or denied, I sign you, my initial. So he put down, that he feels that the board was out of the jurisdiction to make that.
Oh, that was one.
Classification, right. And that he is not going to abide by the ruling. And it's gonna just probably be a trouble.
One you read to us.
So, that's what I said last night. It came to us.
Just remember you're still being recorded.
Oh,
That's fine, that was public knowledge.
what do you want to?
You want to talk about which one?
The one farms guy, it seems they're both under the same statute. Well, they've been in our families for 100 years. But then that's the same with the first one, the first farm. It's been in his family for over 100 years, and it's the exact same farm.
So if we table, we gotta meet with Joe.
No. Oh, we should discuss it.
We table both farms then.
No, I say we approve their appeals.
Well, this last guy, Joe, only needs 11 acres, so that's what we should get.
But he does other things with the other.
Plus you said tonight, you said he does 15, so it's.
And Joe says
He pays 15,
about,
and then he does all the other stuff. If you've ever taken a ride on that, well, it's not a street really. So he does have animals and he does grow
Four on
stuff.
top, it doesn't mean it's a farm.
No, he has the bees also, which take up a lot of room. And he grows the trees.
Yeah, but we need, we don't know.
Yeah, but did you see what his income was per year? Farmers don't make a lot of money.
You know that.
So I would say that $3,000 to sell leaves. Pretty darn good. But look at what his income was on his income tax. $11,000.
If we table these two, we just need to Joe directly, right?
He was gonna deny them.
If you're going to table them, you need a motion again, Madam Chairman, a second discussion and vote.
No, I'm just asking them if they think we should table them. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that.
okay.
What do you guys want to do?
They're both farms.
I'm on the fence.
We're,
So I think we should table, but that's the thing, do we have to go see Joe? Yes, right?
no,
If we table, we are going to see past Joe. And present what they present.
he's gonna deny the two of them.
Well, that's what he's gonna tell us, what they presented, we have to go back to him and tell him what they said.
No, Carolyn's taking the notes, she'll tell him what we said. I mean, this is their
He doesn't use
livelihood.
30 acres of his farm.
What?
He doesn't use 30 acres of his farm,
He pays 15 of it.
half of it. What do
Right.
you do with the other half? Not this.
Yes, you've got to go up there and see it.
Sandra, you're so funny.
I got stuck on it because I thought it was a cut through to North Benham Road. And it was a dead end. I mean, this is what his family has been doing for 100 years. But all those farms up there, they're gonna be gone.
You can't go against the state statutes. 1996, it's either sold or whatever. And he
But
said,
then that's the same is true for the first one.
like he said, either as far as the new applications, it wasn't sold, it wasn't, that's the other word for it. So.
The thing used is exactly the same thing as they originally started as. Because these two, the Sipneski farm and this farm, they all get paid.
No, it's, I can go with it. Because, you know, hay is touching, it's touching people better. You know, we can't always say before a certain time.
And yet, we were told differently.
Right, so, I'm leaning about giving it to him. But this other one, I only use half his acreage. I
No,
think
but he's only using half of it for farm. Right.
So why should he get 30 acres of farm? He should only get 15.
No, 15 acres is farmland that is paid. And the other 15 is farmland that is used for the llamas and the bees. And now his new certification.
Well, these
And
only go so
trees.
far. These don't go in the woods, remember that? These only
That's
go,
right, but it's not noise.
no, but the bees only are gonna stay right where the hives are, where the flowers are. We're not gonna go in the woods with that. Half this farm is 15 acres of wood, right?
No,
How much can a alpaca use up for space? Not 15 acres.
no, but then he's growing things, he's got the trees, the evergreen trees.
Yeah, that he's not using to sell Christmas trees.
No, he's using them because they got too big, so he's using them for wreaths. So at least he's making good use of that. And then he did say he grows something here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he started that yet.
Yeah, now I'll see what he said.
That's what he's going to be doing. I read, he's got a letter here. So he is using the land. And even if some of the land is not being used for productivity because of his age, we can't deny him the certification of.
Yeah, we're not denying the cert, we are saying that he's got 30 acres of farm, he needs to use all 30 acres.
But he
of
is.
farm.
15 acres is hay, and the other 15 is being used for all this other stuff.
There you go, John.
Okay,
I mean, farmers use a lot of, just for equipment and a barn and all of that kind of stuff. Just the expected.
Morning, VA here.
Yes,
I'm a little early. I don't know if I'm up next or not, but
what's your name?
Michael Marafito, I'm here on 1018 Beach.
Yeah, sure, come on in.
You'll be over there at that microphone over there.
Over here?
Yeah, just wipe it off with that, wall, please. Yes. So you're an attorney, correct?
I am, yes.
Attorney Maravito,
Correct, yes.
so you will have 10 minutes to present your appeal, please.
Okay, do you guys need a copy of the authorization form? Or you have
We
it?
have it.
You have it?
Yes. Right here, the letter. This is the letter you're talking about?
Yes, that looks like, it looks like from here, yeah.
It looks,
Do you need me swearing in or anything?
I'm told by our attorney that attorneys don't need to be sworn in.
Okay. All boards can do a little bit different.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so this is the industrial property that's over on 1018 or 10-18 Beach Street.
Correct.
It's kind of up the road on the Sunoco station. It's an industrial facility. My client purchased it in April of 2020, about 6 months before the revaluation date, in an arm's length transaction for $440,000. So I think at a minimum, I think the highest fair market value is that purchase price, which is about 400 or a little more thousand below the town's current value for the property. That being said, one thing that was not discovered during due diligence, and I think even my client would admit that maybe due diligence is an overstatement of what they did before they purchased the property, that there's a dam located kind of behind or adjacent to the property that's part of the property. And after they purchased the property and got into the site, they realized that the dam's about 100 years old, a little more than 100 years old, and there's substantial damage to the dam. Early estimates, there's been 2 engineers that have gone out there both have said that it at minimum needs to be repaired. It might need to be entirely replaced. They won't know until they're able to get more below the surface, but the preliminary estimates are anywhere from $200,000 to $1 million to remedy the problem. And while they're moving expeditiously to try to get something done, obviously the damage and the cost from the damage will be way worse if the dam breaks before they're able to actually perform any of the repairs. So we put on the form on the low end to deduct another $200,000 for the dam repair from the value from the purchase price. And that's our opinion of value for the property. To be honest with you, the property is probably even less than that. There's a good chance this property at this point, now that this has been discovered, actually has a negative fair market value. I asked my clients point blank when I was touring the property with them the other week, knowing what you know now, what would you pay for the property? And they both said, honestly, we wouldn't. So it means a little bit of buyer's remorse, but obviously, they're now looking at a negative equity in the property where they're going to have to spend to repair the dam, not to mention all of the rehabilitation efforts that have to go into the building itself in order to make it leasable. The office space on it hasn't been occupied in quite some time. There's no air conditioning, so it can be almost impossible to get a tenant in there until they redo the HVAC system. The rest of it obviously is currently being used for, one of the owners is storing some stuff there. There is one small tenant in one of the industrial spaces, but otherwise it's entirely vacant. That's pretty much the story of the property. I welcome any questions. I will say that as much as my clients are remorseful that they invested in this property, they understand what they paid for it. They're committed to it, and they're going to make the best of it that they can, and they are willing to pay their fair share of taxes. That's why we didn't put a negative amount on the form. We didn't put 0 on the form. I said they're committed to paying something, but obviously at the current fair market value, just that the town has, it's just kind of not sustainable.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much for presenting. So we will let them, or know by mail in 8 to 10 days.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much. You guys have a number more hearings to go?
We do.
Yeah, busy year. Good luck, have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy. So 448,000. The number was that we were looking to give them.
Even if we read these cards, why do you have AC? That's coming back here. Yep. Here it says no, and he said it didn't have air conditioning. Here it says AC type none. And he said, I don't know what this, he was giving James Williams an F. This one has an A. I don't know what this one's mean.
Average, I think.
Average.
So I think it's 448,000 then. That's the number that he should be happy with. He said it's like a negative.
He's got numbers down here on the front.
He has 440,000. I think 448 is 448,000. So I make a motion,
Instead of going, we've got 586,700 everything here,
I'm gonna go with 448,000.
changing that one.
He said he was at 440 on here, so we only want to do. Yeah, it's right on here. It's on the form. It's gotta be repaired or removed.
I wanted to render it to the conservator.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion on the 955 CT Vic LLC to 448,000. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. So 3-0.
Then you have to keep that in the set for appraised
That's a good question. With 448,000, is that just for appraised? I think.
Don't go crazy. What's the number we're going from?
440,000. What's on the front?
You said something about 500 something, you're going from.
No. I think it's assessed. That would be all. So 3-0. So we'll move on to that one.
We're back to your two firms.
Yeah.
Time has been all.
Around 7:30, but I'm guessing they should be hopefully soon.
And then the other one,
Then you got, the one that's around 7:45, he's the one that's got 4 properties.
And then
And then,
Gillette.
then Adam, resident of Gillette.
No, thank you.
You gonna do these two?
Oh, who's next, at what time?
Rinaldi should be coming up,
What time is this one?
not 7:30.
Oh, so we have 20 minutes?
Who's in Florida?
Well, everybody's so early.
Okay, so then we might as well do these two.
I mean, worst thing is you put them back to the farm, you got something like next year, they come back again.
We come back every 5 years,
3 years.
but they don't have to, but that's the whole point. But they declassify them every 5 years.
So we're gonna talk about Mr. Malinowskis. His real estate. So he's the one that pays, right?
And that's all he does.
Okay. 6.69 acres, right? So his original farm was 6.69 acres.
You just need a motion before you discuss this, Madam Chairman.
I make a motion to discuss the farm for Mr. Richard Malinowskis.
Actually, the motion has to be, not just to discuss, it has to be a motion to either approve or sustain the appeal or deny the appeal, not just to discuss. Please.
You think you got the hang of it yet?
No. All right. So I guess I have to make a motion to discuss, is that what you mean?
No. You can't. You have to make a motion to take some action, not just to discuss. But the motion should be either to deny the appeal or sustain or approve the appeal, then second, and then you can talk about it, and then you can vote any way you want. But you don't move just to discuss. It should be a motion to take some final action that you should make, that someone should make.
Okay.
And just because you make a motion again, even if you made a motion to deny the appeal, just because you make the motion doesn't mean that you have to so vote to deny the appeal. You can vote to the contrary should you choose. You can vote any way you want, but someone needs to make a motion at least to get it on the floor.
Oh, this is one. It's no, okay. We'll discuss it after the motion is made.
So I make a motion to approve his appeal? Do I hear a second? Is that what I'm doing?
Second.
All in favor? So I make a motion to discuss. Brian, is that
No,
what I'm?
No. Again, you could make, in order to discuss something, you need to make a motion. So if you move to approve the appeal, sustain the appeal, and that's seconded, then you should have a discussion on the motion. And just because you made a motion to sustain the appeal, you can articulate that you really think it should be denied, or you could vote to deny it, even if it was your motion to sustain or approve the appeal. But you have to have a motion to take some action, then you discuss it, and then you vote.
I think we just did that though.
I think you just did, right? So now you just asked about a motion to discuss. I think you just moved on the appeal to sustain the appeal, and it was seconded, and you just voted in favor of that. Is that what you meant to do?
We want to discuss it, correct? Yes.
I think you just what I think you just no. Then you just took a vote. If that was erroneous, I heard a motion, a second, and then a vote. You shouldn't have voted if you're discussing. It has to be moved, seconded, discussed, and then voted in that order. So to be clear, you may want to start all over. Someone may want to, let's make this clear. Make a motion. Someone should make the motion.
I make a motion to accept Richard Malinowski's appeal.
Okay, been moved to sustain the appeal. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? And now you should discuss before you vote.
This is what his farm has been doing for 91 years. More than that.
All right, Brian, we're gonna accept the appeal. So what do I have to do with that then?
We're finished with discussion.
Right, so.
I'm sorry, you're discussing it now, and it was the motion to sustain the appeal, I believe.
Accept the appeal.
Yes, right. You agree with the taxpayer on his appeal then,
Correct.
Right.
by accepting.
Zero.
Right, and that's been seconded. Now you've discussed it, and then once you're done discussing, you should take a vote on that.
So we did 3-0. We're all in favor of the taxpayer.
Okay, perfect. Perfect, thank you. And just follow that same format all the time. Every item, just someone move one way or the other, and then just do the discussion.
You wrote it down,
And
maybe I can follow you up. So the one that we tabled, I have to take off the table, right?
Yes, Madam Chairman, you would need a motion to have it taken from the table, which would have to be seconded. All in favor to take it from the table, and once it's off the table, you will need a motion. Someone should move, second, and go from there.
Okay, I make a motion to remove the Belco property off the table. There a second, I need a second, right?
You would need a second, and then a discussion and a vote, and then once it's off the table, you could file a motion to do something with the item.
Sandra seconded, so now we can discuss, or I gotta make
Yes.
a motion? We can
Yeah,
discuss.
you should discuss taking it from the table, and then have a vote on taking it from the table.
Sandra second taking it off the table.
Now we can discuss.
Thank you.
So now that it's off the table, I'm sorry, now that it is back on the table, someone should have a motion. Someone should make a motion.
Motion to what?
Oh, we're discussing.
Yeah, or accept or deny. It doesn't matter, so we just either accept or deny.
I'll make a motion to accept taxpayers' appeal.
And then somebody second,
Second.
and now this discuss, is there any discussion?
Any discussion?
Now discuss.
Now we discuss. You're right.
This is the size of the farm that he's been for 100 years. Nothing has changed. It's still a farm. You guys want to go to the- Okay. Oh, I know.
All right, so we're gonna, I'm gonna make a motion to
You're like 5 kids in quarantine right now.
what? So we're gonna make a motion that we're all accepting 3-0 with the taxpayer on Edward Dolphus property.
All in favor, aye. Aye. 3-0. Well, it's that 409. That each one of them is presented. And it's the same thing with the Ryan property. And it's the same property that they had for 100 years. But then, see, then I don't understand how it was denied, even though we accepted it.
I know I'm a couple minutes early, I just have to wait till 7:30. Thank you.
This is which one, Rinaldi?
Yeah, or Esquantic, which is actually the name of the property owner.
So his appointment down in Albany was 7:30, you said?
Yeah. That's what the
That's
notice-
Zoom, right? Zoom?
I don't know if he's gonna try, I don't know. He's in Florida, sometimes he has that.
Sorry?
Where he lives in Florida, he has sometimes he has that connection.
No one is in the waiting room, just, I'm keeping an eye on it, but I haven't seen anyone come in.
We're not done. Yeah. How long do we wait for?
I don't have to do almost.
more minutes.
Thank you. I do have an email. I've actually come off the page because it's in a string of other non-relevant, but it does say that he authorizes me. I can hand at least a little. I just don't want to give you the rest of the stuff. It's neither relevant or, it's communication between him and not relevant to this. You can't leave it on the desk for the secretary. Just in case there's any issue. I can give you the whole thing, but I'm reluctant to do so. Communication.
Or is anybody in the waiting room?
I have not seen anybody.
Okay, thank you.
I offer no explanation other than that.
Okay, it happens.
Yeah, things happen, especially here. I can't think where he is.
Thank you for coming in.
Well, no, I have a short presentation.
Okay.
Going whenever you're ready.
Sure, yep. So, Mr. John Rinaldi is who you're representing?
Yeah, well, I'm representing the actual name of the property owner, which is West Montic LLC.
Right.
And Mr. Rinaldi is the sole member of that LLC, so he has authority to act on behalf of that, and then I'm acting on his behalf. So, just by way of background, I became involved in this property probably back in 2012. At the time, the property was held by 4 different family units. Mr. Rinaldi's brother, a nephew, and then another distantly related family. Mr. Rinaldi's brother